Hey guys, it's Natasha. So I haven't filmed in a very long time. I realized that I don't really have a filming setup in my new apartment. I don't have any sort of lighting, so I have to use natural light, which is quite difficult in my apartment. Not that I've got big windows, so I have natural light. It's just setting up a place in my apartment to film is the tricky part. So I've got something worked out here. Hopefully I'll have the effort to actually set this up and stuff like that every single time I want to film, because that's what I gotta do. Thought I would film a how-to video today. I came across the perfect opportunity of how to color correct and cover bruises and such, because as you can see here, excuse up my nose view, but I got a nice bruise this past weekend playing sports. If you are like me and don't do sports, this tutorial could come in quite handy, I assume. I had an incident with a baseball. It was tossed gently in my direction, and I don't know how to catch with a baseball glove on. It ricocheted and hit me in the face. So I thought I would take advantage of this opportunity and show you guys how to color correct and cover up bruises and such, in case you're also challenged when it comes to sports. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna jump right into this tutorial. So for color correcting, I'm using the Sephora plus Pantone Universe palette, Correct and Conceal, and this is the light medium palette, so it just looks like this here. It's perfect. It's got all of your peachy tones and your greens and all of those things for color correcting, and then it also has all of your concealers. I actually really like the consistency and the wearability of the concealers in this palette. This is perfect for any working makeup artists and need something that's got concealers and color correctors just to kind of throw in their kit. That's what I bought this for, but I use it on myself too. I'm going to start off. For bruises, they usually got more of a purple undertone to it, and to correct and cancel out purple, you want to use yellow. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of the yellow from this palette here, and honestly, the tiniest little bit. This isn't going to focus here. I have the focus. I just want you guys to see that I have the tiniest little bit on here. And that's even way too much. So less is more is basically what I'm trying to say here. You don't need a lot to do color correcting. You want to basically just correct the color that's there. You don't want to be left seeing the yellow and such on your face, because then you're going to be working harder to try and then cover that color that you used to correct you're just creating more work for yourself, basically. I also grabbed a little bit of green and I put them both on the back of my hand here. I also have a pimple here, so I'm gonna cover that at the same time. Also, I've got a little bit of a scratch from the actual baseball attacking me. So I am going to, there's actually a mirror in here, conveniently enough. So I'm just gonna use this mirror. And I am going to zoom you guys in so you can probably have a better look here of what I'm actually doing. Get you nice and close. Okay, so I am going to, just on a tiny concealer brush here, I am just going to take a little bit of that yellow color, and I'm really kind of just working this into the back of my hand to get the product all warmed up, and so it'll kind of blend out a little bit nicer on my face. And I am just going to start patting that on top of where I see all of those dark purple tones. So when color correcting, you really want to think about the color wheel. I'm just taking a MAC 286 brush. I like it because it's dual fiber, and using that to kind of blend out the edges. I'm just tapping gently. But so when you're color correcting, you want to think about the color wheel. Whatever tone you're trying to correct, you're gonna go opposite of the color wheel to correct that, because opposites will cancel each other out, and though if you were to mix a purple and a yellow paint together, you would get a brownish color. Same with if you were trying to cancel red, you're going to use green, because if you mix those two colors together, you're going to get a brownish neutral sort of tone, which is why you use colors opposite on the color wheel to color correct. So for the scratch here and my pimple, I'm going to use green because those have more reds, whereas the purple bruise, I used yellow to cancel out those purple tones. And you can see as I'm blending this out here, you don't see all this yellow, because you don't want to have just a patch of yellow here that you then have to go and try and cover that with more concealer, more product. It'll end up just getting cakey. You're gonna end up creating more work for yourself in the end. It's just better to, you just wanna basically not see that purple anymore, but you don't wanna put so much on that you're seeing the color that you're using to color correct, if that makes any sense. Probably not, but I'm trying my best. Okay, so I'm just kind of wiping this off my one brush here so that I can move into the green and not create like a yellowy green color, but it's probably gonna happen anyways. Ideally, you would probably just go in with a new brush, but who's got time or effort for that? So I'm just going to lightly pat this on the areas that are red. And again, I'm just gonna go in with my MAC brush and blend those out. You can also use your finger to kind of tap out and blend out any edges. And then for this pimple here, I'm just gonna go back in with a little bit more. You can still see a little bit of red, but again, it's better to start with less and build it up, as opposed to throwing so much on that, like, I would never want to leave it like that where I can see that green, because then I'm going to be working harder to cover up that green. So you just want to keep blending it out. If you need a little bit more, you can add more, but it's going to be harder to take it away or try to then work to cover it. So this is like not wanting to stick to this pimple. Every time I go to blend it, it just kind of just completely goes away, so that's fun. Okay, so as you can see, this is pretty good here. I don't have any overwhelming yellow or green tones that I'm then gonna have to work to cover up, but it did help neutralize those really deep purples and those red tones. So I'm going to zoom you guys back out here because this is, whoa, wrong way. Okay, so next I am going to go in and apply my foundation over top of that. I like to do my foundation next because then I'm not going to have to go in with as much concealer and try and cover that up. The foundation will already help to cover some of this a little bit, and then I can use less product altogether. So I'm just using my MAC Face and Body foundation, and it's just a light coverage foundation, and I'm using a beauty blender to blend it out. And I'm just tapping it onto the skin. And then on the chin here, where I've got those spots, you wanna make sure you're really just tapping it on those areas and not rubbing, so that you're not moving around all of that color correcting that we just did underneath there. You want that to all stay put exactly where we put it. So just making sure you're tapping on those areas. Also making sure you're blending down your neck, because this is still just a little too dark for my skin, because I haven't gotten a tan yet. I'm still pasty. Even though I was outside all weekend, that didn't seem to do anything, so. Next I'm gonna go in with concealer. I'm using the Kat Von D Lock-It Cream Concealer Cream, whatever. And I'm just going to really lightly dot it on those spots where I need to cover. And when you're doing stuff like this, you want to make sure your concealer matches your skin tone perfectly. You don't want to use a lighter concealer because that's just going to make that area stand out. So you want to use a concealer that's exactly the same as your skin tone. I'm going to go back in with my MAC 286 brush and use that to blend this out. One thing you can do as well is you can just, if you're not wanting to wear a foundation at all, if you just wanted to cover whatever you got going on, you can just do the color concealer and, the color corrector and the concealer steps, and just do, like, if you're wanting to do a no makeup day but you still have some spots you want to cover up, you can just do those steps. You don't have to go through and do the foundation in between. If you feel like anywhere needs more coverage, and just build up that coverage. This pimple is being so stubborn. It's been there for weeks now. And I'm wondering if it's ever going to leave or if I'm just going to permanently have this pimple on my chin forever. So I'll keep you updated. The very last step in all of this would be to set it with a powder just to make sure it doesn't move or go anywhere throughout the day. I'm gonna use the Lock-It translucent powder, the Kat Von D one, and I'm just gonna use my beauty blender. I'm just going to lightly tap some into the powder. I'm gonna try and like tap off any excess. I don't wanna bake the area per se, I just wanna set it. So I'm going to grab my mirror. And I'm just going to lightly tap over those areas just to make sure nothing moves around, just to make sure that stays all day long. Okay, so this is everything. You can see it's pretty well covered. You can't see any major bruising or discoloration anymore. And I didn't have to go through and do like 20 steps and pack on tons and tons of product just to cover it. It's looks pretty good. Wrong way again, holy moly. I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my makeup and then I will come back and do my outro, I guess? I don't know. I'll be back. Alright guys, so that is everything for this tutorial today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I also hope it was helpful in some way, shape, or form. Let me know what you guys want to see next in the comments down below and I will do that. Also, make sure you subscribe and leave a big thumbs up if you liked this video. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. I'll link those down below as well. I'm a little more active over there than I have been on YouTube lately. So if you want to keep up to date with what's going on, there is the place to go. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! This is just so awkward for me to keep tilting my head like this. It's just, oh, that does not look blended. My foundation does not look blended at all. This is awful. I'm supposed to be a professional-ish or whatever.